educational products. And I received a second education in sales and marketing from 3M. And it accelerated my career. I eventually ended up in Texas selling computer equipment and so forth, and became very successful. It led to me traveling to 22 countries to see all
Wow.
the distributors. It was fantastic. And I was also the president, co-founder and president of Tau Sigma Chi. Carl is on here. He was a fraternity brother. And we have, believe it or not, the house burned down in 76 and the fraternity disbanded because we never went national. But we have had a reunion every single year, including last year at
Wow.
one of the brothers' farms in a nearby town.
Terrific, terrific. Well, thank you for letting us hear all that. That's exciting. You learned early that you don't get big raises if you teach. I believe Betty Kaufman has her hand up, better known as Beeper.
Yeah, I did music education and feel like the JMU prepared me fairly well, except for the field of special ed. That was a real shock when I hit those classes. My first day with a deaf class was horrendous, but I learned a lot and actually ended up writing a book. This is for pre-K and special ed teachers. It's got lesson plans, songs and activities, and a CD. And I was named Elementary General Music Education Teacher for the year of 2001, 2002. So
Wonderful.
I feel like I've had a wonderful career and loved every minute of it, but I'm glad it's over too.
Well, thank you.
Have people say their maiden names too, if they are women who have different last names, because we might not recognize one another's married names.
And I'm Betty
Great.
Perry.
Right.
Oh. Okay. Thank you, Betty. I always called her Betty, even though she was Beeper. Yes.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Iris Farmer Daniels and majored in political science. Never made it to the presidency, but still really interested in I taught off and on for about 13 years. And then after that went into social work and was a social worker for 26 years. So I worked until I was 66 and now I'm having lots of fun with grandkids and retirement, traveling, whatever.
Wonderful, wonderful, exciting life. Anyone else? We're going to have to wrap it up so I can introduce you to the next person. All righty. Next, we'll have Carl, and he'll be asking you a question that I'm sure you'll want to answer. Take it away, Carl.
Thanks, Beverly. Can you all hear me all right? Just kind of nod your heads. Good. It is so great to see so many people online. I just want to say a special thanks or hello to Beverly. Bev, so sorry that Mike can't be with us tonight, but hopefully I think this is being recorded. For introduction, my name is Carl Nordstrom. I graduated also in 1970, but I didn't come to JMU until Frederick College closed in 1968, and so transferred in with the rest of the Frederick folks, and just really enjoyed my 2 undergraduate years. And I came back for graduate study and got a graduate degree in 74 after finishing my active duty in the service. So just other question that might be interesting, now that I think most of us are retired, is what are your current hobbies or activities? And I'll just start that out. I'm lucky enough to live in Florida in the winter and up in New England in Rhode Island in the summer. And I'm an active boater and bicyclist, so I get to do that all year round. But so let's see who else wants to share what you're doing in your leisure time. Terry? Then I'll come back to you, Bev.
Um,
I kind of lived my life backwards. I taught school, middle school for 30 years, 18 of them in Chesapeake. So I got you on that one, Michelle. And then moved to Gloucester, Virginia. And my husband, Tom, and I lived on a sailboat from 78 until 2016.
Wow.
I retired at 52, 53, whenever I hit 30 years, I got out. And Tom and I traveled up and down the coast in the boat. And then in 2016, our great nephew, who was 3.5, his mom got in some trouble. We kept the boat, bought a house, and we now have a 8-year-old that's getting ready for 3rd grade. So now I'm a mom.
For you.
And you said you're in Gloucester. I grew up in Yorktown. So,
All right. Well, we're right off of Sarah Creek.
yeah, I know exactly where you are.
Okay.
Yeah,
So Terry, what's it like and how do you have energy for that?
Well, it's been real exciting because school closed March the 13th, 2020. And so we've been doing virtual schooling that entire time. And I was not an elementary ed. I was 7th and 8th grade English. So I know a lot about 2nd grade now. And on the 19th of April, he returns to the building. So we don't know what we're going to do with ourselves. He said, we'll just go kiss all day. I said, probably.
yeah. I think you had your hand up.
Yeah. Since Mike and I retired, can you hear me okay?
Why don't
Good.
you just
Okay,
say who you are, year, and blah, blah, blah.
great. Maiden name was Johnson, Beverly Johnson, graduated in 70, married Mike Petto soon after that. We've been married over 50 years now. And we, long time. Since we retired, we've been lake sailors, as Carl knows, for a long, long time. And we've traveled. Our hobby is traveling. And we have just thoroughly enjoyed it until the pandemic. And that's kept us here. And we're just sort of waiting it out, waiting till we can get on a plane and go again. So that's it.
Bev, what are you waiting for? What will be the sign for you that you will feel good traveling again?
That other countries allow Americans in. That's pretty much it. We've done a lot of travel in Asia and Africa. And, right now it's not the best, those aren't the best places to go. So we're here and we enjoy grandkids who are here. We live in New York City now and just, enjoy the city and eat outside. We haven't gotten inside yet, but, eventually we will. So that's our goal. Okay.
Mandy, you got your hand.
Hey, did you call on Mandy?
I thought you had your hand.
I did, because I want to say something, but I couldn't hear you. I'm glad now I play bridge, and I'm sure glad I didn't learn to play it in college, because I don't think I would have graduated, because that's all I would have done. But I do enjoy traveling as well, and I've had 3 cruises canceled, but I'm hoping for a Caribbean Christmas cruise and a Scandinavian May cruise. So we'll see how that goes. But I too love to travel, and I taught high school music, and my students, we traveled a lot, and we traveled a lot in the UK. So we had lots of fun doing that. And I guess we have cities in the south of France and near Heidelberg. And so I love all that, and I go visit them. And so I've enjoyed doing that, which I didn't do much of in college.
Here's Mike, who's
Hi.
joined us.
Yeah,
I've
Mike.
got a meeting going on in the other room, but I skipped out.
Carl Lindstrom.
Hey,
Hi, Mike.
Carl.
So
Who else wants to share their hobbies and staying out of trouble with?
Hey, Carl, I believe that Mary Ann had her hand raised a long time ago.
Mary Ann.
Mary Ann, would you like to share?
Hey, Dee.
I have my husband and I live in Florida part of the year, in Virginia part of the year. And I taught school for 33 years, high school math and part-time community college.
Wow.
And we have one daughter that lives in Alaska, so
Oh,
we're going to go this year to see her. It's been 2 years since I've seen her family and children. And I like to play bridge as well. And I'm an oil painter. And I like, I'm learning to play golf. Now, I'm not saying I'm good, but I'm learning. So.
You never
that's
get good.
right.
Where are you in Florida and Virginia?
Yes.
Where,
Where in Florida? Leesburg, Florida.
I know where that
We're
is.
right next to the villages. Brinewood is on 44 and we're in Pembroke Fairways, which is on 44. And we're on the border of Lake County and Sumter.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, Barbara?
You're muted, Barbara.
No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to let you know there's somebody else looking in on this. She could not get in for some reason, but I'm holding, as I'm sitting here, my camera up so that Chris Shelton is visiting with you on my cell phone. Chris just retired from Smith College as a professor there. She's an author of a book. She handled a lot of graduate students and women who had come back for degrees in sports administration. And Chris, what else were you involved in? Women's studies there too? Yeah, women's studies. So Chris is watching all this.
Great.
And says hello to.
Hi, Chris.
hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
I'll type her information in.
Thank you, Barbara.
Not a problem. Anything for a friend.
So who else wants to share?
Barbara
Yes.
Kincaid.
Hi, Barbara.
Barbara Estep was my name at Madison. I was a library science and history major, a double major. I came to Fredericksburg right after graduation because the superintendent, I had several offers. That was the year the state mandated a certified librarian in every school. So I had several offers because I was a pretty good student. But the offer I took was Fredericksburg because the superintendent said, we'll have to find you a husband. Can you imagine that today? However, 2 years later, he came to my wedding. That was teaming with young engineers, and I snagged an engineer. Right now, he's deceased, so I'm a widow, but I am on the board of a group at the University of Mary Washington, Elder Study, which they support our group and let us use a room on their campus. And we bring in speakers. Right now, we're doing them by Zoom, but it's a great group. We do tours. The end of this week, I'm going to tour the new baseball stadium here in Fredericksburg. So I may become a baseball fan because I did like sports when I was at Madison, attending them, not playing them. I had trouble with that swimming requirement we had in 1980. That was fun. I actually came during a summer semester to take the swimming and had the lovely professor, I don't remember her name, but she had pioneered teaching 4-year-olds to swim. It was a good thing because I had the same fears they would have.
Excellent.
And I collect antique dolls and I travel. And I love plays. I was in the drama club and I plan to, soon as we can clear and New York is clear, go up to see some plays.
And Barbara and I taught in the same school, but we really didn't know each other from Madison. But one day in the hallway, we said hello and realized that we had both attended Madison.
He was always in the music hall and I was always in the library.
And this can uncover services. Ready to go.
Linda Atkins up there that has the last name of Whitehead. And I think you were a Zeta girl, as I remember.
No,
I was a
No,
super
but we loved her anyway.
we loved her anyway.
Thank you, thank you.
Who else would like to share?
In my retirement, I live in a 55 and over active adult community. Lots going on, play bridge a lot, play bocce ball, travel, take a lot of classes with LLI, which is Lifelong Learning Institute, and just real busy. I don't know how I ever work. Didn't fit in.
Super. And maybe time for one more, and maybe we'll come back to this. Yes, Ann. Go ahead, Ann. You're muted.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ann Dawson. If you
Hi, Annie.
with very gray hair instead of dark hair, which is what I had. Anyway, I had a wonderful career. I thank James Madison for the degree in mathematics, but a career in computer science, and had a great ride, worked at the Pentagon, worked a lot of different places through my career, ended up retiring in Florida. We're in Bonita Springs, if anybody knows.
Yeah.
Bonita Springs. And I played golf. I'm a passionate golfer. Even though I wasn't a PE major in college, I'm fairly good at golf. And took up something which I didn't think my brain would do, and that's painting. I'm loving painting. Behind me, you can kind of see some of the painting I've done, but it's quite a passion. So between golf and painting, I've got a good life.
Great, great.
Okay, I'm gonna send it over to Mandy, back to Mandy, and she'll be with the.
I think it's D.
Carl, it's me.
It's D, not Mandy.
I got it. Hey, Carl forgot me. It's okay. I have a light question. I have two light questions for you. I forgot to ask when I asked you to enter into the chat room your name and where you live, your city and state. And most of us have been sharing that. Who thinks they live right now the farthest from JMU? Raise your hand like that. Who lives the farthest? I'm flipping through and okay. Glenn Watkins, hang on, Glenn, I'm coming back to you. Anybody else's hand up? Okay. Oh, and Barbara. Okay, Glenn, where do
I
you
see
live?
Sharon Ogden too.
Okay, Sharon Ogden. Okay, Glenn's first.
I live just north of Austin, Texas, in Georgetown. It's a small town of about 20, maybe 30,000 people. And I live in a subset of that city, Sun City, which is a retirement community, something like somebody mentioned living in the villages in Florida. It's something like that. It's about 10,000 people, but you really wouldn't know it. It's a lot of fun. I'm involved in a musical group there. I do all the emceeing and the stage setting and so forth. And I introduce people like, say, Carl Nordstrom. Ladies and gentlemen, Carl Nordstrom, our featured performer of the evening. Here he is, Carl Nordstrom. So I do things like that. And
all right.
I do a little bit of performing magic, and I'm so on guitar. You can see one on the wall behind me. So
okay,
I'm really grateful to James Madison for the education I got, all the friends that I've met, and it's been a great experience. And I really appreciate what JMU has done for this, for our group, for this reunion. This is fantastic.
Great. Let me see. Barb, where do you live?
I live 25 miles north of the city of Houston in a town called the Woodlands, Texas, which was just voted by some magazine the #1 place to live. It's actually a community of about 135,000 people, many oil and tech people here. And my late husband was an oil executive. So, being in the oil business, you're always going to come to Houston. We came twice. It's sort of like being in the military and staying in long enough, you end up at the Pentagon. So I've lived here now. I've lived in Texas. This will be starting my 28th year. But the Woodlands was actually based on a model of Irvine, California, which is a master planned community. So I'm surrounded by beautiful golf courses, and it's quite nice here. Don't golf, but I like looking at the golf courses. So
cool.
There you go.
Hey, and so Sharon Jones Ogden, you also are a Texan, aren't you?
Yes, I am. But I think Carl wins because he's farther west than either Barbara or myself. I'm in college.
That would be Glenn.
Yeah, the two of us are close by.
Glenn. Yeah. Okay. Got to find the picture. Okay. There you are. Yeah. I live in College Station, Texas, and I have since 1978.
And so it's a good place to live, except when it's hot, as Barbara and Glenn can attest to. But yeah, I think Glenn wins. Austin's farther west than.
Austin is farther west, but I'm farther south than you, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're 2 hours south from me.
And Dee, she's not at the reunion, but if we did a vote of the class and who lived the furthest away, but who isn't on, it might be Janine Eaton, because Janine lives in Oahu.
Right, yeah.
Although she is camping right now in Portland, Oregon, but she's been living in Hawaii
And
for
she
many
really
years.
wanted to come. She really wanted to be here. So we'll let her
Okay,
know.
well, I got another question.
I want to ask Sharon one thing. Sharon, you've lived here a long time. You're still not a Texan though, are you?
No, I'm not. I am still a Virginian.
They still say to me, you're still from Jersey. I go, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more question, and this probably a lot of people will have something. So let's just raise your hand and I'll call through as best I can. But
right now.
have any of you ever met anyone famous? Now, it can be, a celebrity like entertainment or something like that. It can be a politician. It can be a famous athlete. Like I've met Carl Lewis and Billie Jean King. So raise your hand if you've met someone famous. Oh my gosh, you haven't met anyone famous? Okay. Mary Ann, you're the first hand I see. I think you're on mute, Mary Ann.
Okay, me? I met Dick Clark at the racetrack. My grandfather had owned race horses, and my brother and I were picking up different tickets, and we saw the people had thrown away, and we saw him up in the grandstand, and he signed the back of my program.
Cool. Okay, Barbara.
That was cool.
Yeah, I all of mine have been politicians. I met Richard Nixon when I was a teenager, and then dubious distinction. And then I've met both President Bush 1 and President Bush 2, both of them.
Oh boy,
so,
good for you.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah.
Okay,
and my
Gailey,
husband,
let's hear you.
Well, my husband and I were in a bagpipe band, and we went to Edinburgh to, we were in a whole group were in there. But anyway, we were in our full regale, and someone said the Prince is coming and told us where to go. And my husband left me with his drum in the middle of the street, and the car came down, and out came from the car was Prince Charles. And he looked at me and he said, "What are you doing in a black watch uniform?" And I said, "Well, we're in a marching band. We just marched with the group." And he was a good distance from me. And, in America, you don't get too close to wealthy people or stars or anything else. And people kept saying to me, "Go closer." And I kept saying, no, we can't. So he kind of said hi and where are you from and talked to me at a distance. But then he headed down through the park. And my one daughter was with us in Scotland at the time, my sister and brother-in-law, and I wanted them to know the Prince was walking through the park. So I ran way down to where he was going. And when I got to where we could see him walking on the path, he looked over and he goes, "Oh, a friend." And everybody looked around. He walked right up and he took my hand and we talked for a few minutes. He asked, he kind of went off and away, but apparently a little more get closer than Americans are. I think I would have been tackled if I was in the United States and
yeah, you would have been.
Hand of a politician or something.
Okay, let me ask Mandy, who have you ever met?
I was with a small group, and we had a private audience in Monte Carlo with Princess Grace the year before she died.
Nice.
And she talked to me and asked me how I compared Virginia beaches to the French beaches. And so we had a nice conversation. And the reason she granted us an audience was because as a child, she had a distant cousin that lived in Fredericksburg, and they would go hunting for relics and things in the battlefields. And so she granted us a private audience.
That's very cool.
Beautiful. She was beautiful.
Okay, Glenn, who have you met?
Yeah, I've met Mike Love from the Beach Boys. We went to San Antonio. Yeah, we went to San Antonio for a concert, We got there early and we went into a Mexican restaurant. And as we were going in, he was coming out with his group, and my wife and I got a picture with him, talked to him a little bit, and enjoyed the concert.
Neat.
Cool. All right, let me go over from the next screen. Anybody else on that next screen over there? Okay, good. I see you. Carol Harden, hi.
Hi, guys. I live sort of in the political arena, so I avoid all those folks because I'm 10 miles outside of DC. So anyway, my big thing is I love baseball. And so I have tickets to the Washington Nationals. And so I've met, the team, so to speak, with Max Scherzer and Juan Soto and Steven Strasburg and the whole 9 yards, because I have season tickets. So I get to do certain things and I really enjoy it. And right now I'm one of the lucky 5,000 that has tickets to the game.
Yes, awesome. Okay, who else on that screen has met somebody famous? Anybody else? Okay, yeah, we'll zip over to the next screen. Anybody else? Yeah, Bev, you're waving at me. Go, Bev. No, Bev, you got to unmute.
Also, Michelle was waving her hand.
I know, I see Michelle. I'm gonna get Michelle next. Bev, are you unmuted?
I think so. Am I?
Okay, go. You got it.
Well, I've had a fortunate opportunity in my work at Colgate University to meet a few people, including Gorbachev, who's an enchanting person who speaks. If he speaks any English, he will not admit it. And I had a 4-hour dinner with somebody that was not famous, but is now, Anthony Fauci. And what a wonderful person he was when they came up with, and they said, who's going to fix this problem? And they said, Anthony Fauci's in charge. I said, oh, I really trust that guy. So
that's cool. Thanks, Mike.
Great.
Thank you. And Michelle, how about you?
Well, I've had the pleasure of meeting several celebrities. Marvin Gaye was one, and had a conversation with him. He said, excuse me, as he stepped on my toe. At a Detroit Lions football game, and I had lunch with the team. My cousin's husband played for the team. I worked for the Chesapeake Jubilee, and so I met a lot of the celebrities from there. But my favorite was meeting Elizabeth Taylor, where she and her husband at that time was Mark Warner, and they came to a banquet in the DC area through University of Virginia. And I was on the desk helping greet people. And of course I got to greet them and show them to their seat. And later, before the speaker was going to speak, I thought, I'm gonna hurry up and go to the ladies' room. So I got up and I was walking by, and she grabbed my arm and she said, I need to ask you, where did you get that gown? Because it was a formal dinner.
Oh my goodness.
I was so thrilled. It was my 10th high school reunion. And I could say, I got it in a little boutique at St. Croix.
Yeah.
So that kind of thrilled me that I was able to say that. And that was the only time I've been able to say anything like that. But it was just fun. She was a beautiful lady and very, very nice.
Well, I hope I've given a good number of you an opportunity to share with us who you know that might be famous. Let me pass the torch over to Mandy now.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and many of you would have the same answer. So I'm going to tell you that answer, and then you can't give that answer. And that is, I know you're proud of your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. But the question I'm asking you, excluding that, what would be the proudest moment of your 50 years since you've left Madison? That takes a little thought. Mine, I guess, was because my students, I was very into students performing, and they did shows, dancing and singing. And we did get to go to Europe and different places in the United States to sing. And I too retired early in my, before 55. And missed it a little bit. So I have a women's group now, and we wear poodle skirts, hippie outfits, and beach wear. And we do fun music, and it's very therapeutic, and we sing a lot, and people just, they have fun, we have fun. So I guess my proudest moment is the fact that I have been able to have groups that have brought joy to themselves, but also to audiences. So who else would like to? I don't see any hands up. I'm looking, I'm looking, I'm looking.
Beeper
If anybody
Kaufman.
sees a hand, just.
Yeah,
Beeper
Beeper.
Kaufman.
Okay. Beeper?
Beeper, you're on mute.
Okay, I think, is it good now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
My favorite memory from teaching is the student that came up to me. We had tryouts for my Orff ensemble, and I chose this young boy to be in the group. And he said, Mrs. Kaufman, my mother always tells me that I'll always be a nobody, and today I'm a somebody.
Oh, wonderful.
That will stick with
That's
me
what
forever.
music does. Anybody else? Yes. I'm looking for your picture.
We've got Carol.
For some reason, I don't have pictures.
Carol Appling.
Carol.
Okay.
I have a similar experience in that I taught for a very long time in a very large county jail. And I taught GED classes, among other things. But one day on my way out of the jail to my car, a woman came in the opposite direction, walking toward me, and she stopped me. And I knew who she was, but by policy, we were not supposed to initiate any conversation outside of the jail unless that other person did, which she did. And she said, she told me that she was so thankful for being in the jail and being a student of mine because she had the opportunity to take the GED test and she passed it. And she was now studying at a community college to be a counselor for drug addicts.
Oh,
wonderful. Very
wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? I'm looking, I get some of your pictures and some I don't. So
Proudest
if
moments.
you see
I'm looking.
somebody, Dee.
I think that's about it. I don't see any more hands waving at us. All right, then let's flip
Okay,
over
so
to
we're
Carl.
all proud of who is that?
Okay, thank you, Mandy.
Anybody else? Okay, Carl, take it away.
Thank you. So what may be our last question, but an interesting question. And let me start with my little story. I probably visited, or last time I saw the school was in 1978, probably. And then work took me to Boston and consumed me when I worked for Texas Instruments and felt like 24 hours a day. And I really didn't think much of the school at all for many, many years. And so luck would have it that my wife and I had a wedding in Richmond, Virginia. So I said to Linda, let's take a magical mystery tour back to Yorktown, where I grew up, actually Dare, Virginia, on Cheeseman's Creek. But let me take you by Madison College, where I went to school. And let's do the Blue Ridge Parkway, the whole 9 yards. And that was in 2010. And ladies and gentlemen, I was blown away. I mean, if you recall in 1970, over, let's see, would it be west of 81, it was farmland. This massive set of buildings, which of course is the new JMU. So the question is, when, if and when was the last time you've been back to down JMU, and what were your impressions? So I'll open it up to questions. Let's see, I'm on screen 1 right now. Who can, Linda, I think, are you raised? Linda and Iris, that's it. And Ben. So let's start with Linda. Linda, you're on.
I've been back several times. Gail Levin used to love to go back, meet friends for lunch. Terry Petrie, Annie, and we would meet in Harrisburg, and then we'd drive around campus. Gail was great about doing that. Beverly's got her hand up.
Carl, we're not hearing you, so I'm going to recognize Beverly. Bev, you're on mute again.
There we go. Okay. We went back for our 25th, and have been back just periodically ever since. And every time we go back, we're just blown away again by the the changes in the campus and how beautiful it is. So that's it.
Thank you. I believe Iris had her hand up.
Can I just say something? As a resident of Virginia, JMU is quite the school that kids want. It is high on the list with UVA and Virginia. So be proud.
Very cool. Iris? You're muted. Iris, you're mute.
Okay. Okay. Now, I went back last, 2 years ago, just a time 2 years ago, for a big reunion. We stayed at the hotel. We did tours campus. I was most impressed with the theater department, what they had going on there. We went to sorority fraternity row, which I was totally shocked. But yes, I was quite impressed. And as you said, JMU's a place to go. Unfortunately, none of my children went there, but anyway, I'm proud of it and so grateful for the education and the friendship I made there.
Yeah. Mary Ann, did we see your hand? You're on mute.
There we are. Yes, I try to get, in normal times, I try to get back to Virginia about twice a year. And I was really surprised when I heard Linda saying that she drove through the campus. The campus, the part that I know, you can't drive through there anymore. Yeah. And I'm really disoriented. Even though I go back there frequently, I don't know where anything is.
Who else? Michelle, did you say something?
All right, Ellen Shepherd. Ellen, got your hand up.
Yeah, no. I've been back a couple of times, but the experience I want to share was, I guess, 3 years ago. We were driving, well, we were there for a couple of days, but went into the library late one night. And the most astounding thing, the library was full. It was probably 10 or 11 p.m., but not a single student, and it was right before exams, had a book in front of them. They all had computers, every single student. And it was just so strange to think, well, number one, why even did they go to the library? Because they could do their computer work back at the, wherever they lived. But it was very interesting. The library was fascinating just to see how students study these days. It's so completely different, but I loved it.
Sue Ayers. Sue, you're mute.
No. I've only been back once. It was over 20 years ago. It was one of those trips where you have to take your kids to visit colleges.
Yeah.
They know where they want to go. And I kept saying, y'all are Florida kids. I don't think you can manage Virginia in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And my daughter argued with me. But I got, yes, I mean, like some of the rest of you, I got lost. At which point I heard, I thought you went here. And I said, no. It was kind of different. Yeah. When we went there, and neither one of them decided to, well, my daughter applied, but she ended up going to Florida State. Well, my son went there as well. And the first winter, I mean, it was like November. For some of you may not know, Florida State is in Tallahassee, which is the northern part of Florida. And I live in Winter Park, which is, I'm going to Animal Kingdom tomorrow. I mean, it's Disney World place. And that was back when you had chats, you know, you didn't have anything live, but you got this chat stuff. And I got a chat from my daughter and she says, Mom, you were right. Now you don't hear that very often. She said, Mom, you were right. I am freezing to death. I would have died in Virginia. So that trip was a winner for me.
Good deal.
Anybody else? Alice.
I'm from the class of 66, and I've been back to Madison a few times for reunions over the years. And last year, 5 years ago, was our 50th. And we had a large group there and we had a wonderful time. Over the years, the campus changed a lot, as you all know. But the one thing that is still hard for me to accept is that the students can walk all over the grass anytime they want.
Okay.
Mandy Carr is waving her hand. Mandy, you're on mute, dear. Mandy, you're on mute.
It freaked me out when I went to a football game. I could not believe it. They had a beautiful marching band. They had the football team, the stadium, and it was more than I could envision when I went there in the 70s. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And what about that D Hall? Wow.
Yeah, right. Right. And they had just built Duke when the new music place when I went, and now they have another one. I don't even know what Duke's used for, but they have another new music building. So amazing.
Ellen, is the food as good as they say in the D Hall?
You know, you can find anything. It's like a food court on steroids. Yes, we ate one meal there and I kept eating because there were just so many choices. It was amazing. It was very good. But what was most impressive was the choices. They even had a room that was reserved for students with lots of food difficulties. So they could bring specially prepared food in and store it in their own refrigerator, and nobody could bring peanut butter sandwiches in there. But you know, you could get anything you wanted. It was amazing.
And has anybody back since the bots have been running around campus? You know what I'm talking about when I say bots? Beeper?
Well, they're robots that deliver food, right?
Yes. My husband had an interesting experience with them the other day. We live right here in Harrisonburg. And he came upon a couple of the bots, and there was one of these, what do they call them? The scooter things that the kids ride around now all the time, was parked across the sidewalk. Well, the little robot came up to it and couldn't get around it. And it actually reared up. The front of the robot went up about 8 inches, and then it backed up, and then it came up again. Back, it reared up and backed up, and eventually it got around it. It was so cool.
I would love to share something about the robots, if I may. They are my favorite part of campus during COVID, and I would just love to let you all know they're actually extremely polite. If you're at a crosswalk on campus and you walk up and there's a robot waiting to cross the street with someone's meal, it will actually say to you, "Could you please push that button?" And then you push it, and then when it turns to like say go, because that's what the robot is programmed to do, to go across the street when the little person pops up instead of the red hand, it says, "Thank you, have a great day." And I about cried the first time it happened. I thought it was so fun. So they're very polite, I will say, very polite.
Caitlin, how much do those cost? Do you know, or where they got them from?
I don't know how much they cost, but I know they are very expensive. There's only a limited number, and they're manned by someone in the sciences, and the students are very involved with the project as well. But They are awesome. Our office is over on East Campus at the Lealoo Alumni Center, and our Starbucks in Rose Library has been closed since the pandemic hit, which is very hard for us in the alumni office. And so we order coffee from all the way from Carrier almost once a week in a robot, and it is hand delivered all the way from Carrier. It crosses the 81 bridge and everything. It's amazing. We're living in very strange, special times.
You know, they're all over the University of Houston and Rice University, the robots, very popular.
Yeah, so cool.
To maybe make a contrarian point, for all of us from class of 70, we had to walk everywhere. We didn't have any campus buses. For those of us that lived down in the villages, we had to walk up the hill every day to class. And of course, if we were hungry, we had to walk for our food. We didn't have any robots to carry it to us. So some of us are wondering, are the students too pampered today?
That is.
I say, what?
Ew, I have to answer that. This is being recorded. No, I'm kidding. I will say that the students are definitely very lucky to live on the campus that they live on. I lived in Bluestone on my time on campus, so I never had to do that Village Hill. So anyone who had to, I give you mega props. I'm sure your calves were like the strongest calves on campus for sure. I do have one more fun fact I wanted to share, just hearing your all's conversation about D Hall. I hope that if you haven't seen it yet, you'll be able to head back on campus and see the new D Hall. It is amazing. They even have tortilla machines that hand make tortillas and all of these amazing things that are going on. But if you look up on the ceiling, there's actually an outline of the shape and the exact location of the old D Hall. So if you look up, there's a big purple strip that will show you and sort of remind you exactly what the shape of the building is and where it stood. The new D Hall is of course a little bit larger, but that's sort of just a fun fact for your next time on campus.
Caitlin,
yes,
I'll give you a fun fact. Do you know where the kids ate before the old circular dining room?
I don't. Nope.
It was in Burris. And that's where the post office was too. Yeah, when I came down to have an interview, I was taken to lunch at Burris into the cafeteria with all these little bentwood chairs. And then one of the girls here can tell you about the bentwood chairs. There's a gal in here, Linda Stoltz. They had all these little bentwood chairs, and I had lunch with the little guide, and then downstairs was the post office. And I was just like, this is cute. But see, there was nothing really behind where the back campus wasn't there. There was a hockey field, and I think they had just closed the outdoor pool, and there was a 9-hole golf course in the back campus before they built the men's dorms back there in the little village area. It's very, we were our class of 70 was on the cusp, I would say, of the newer school, but we were still very much old. Alice is on here. We were very much what Alice experienced from the class of, I think, Alice, were you 61? I think we were still very much in that genre for our class.
Thank you.
I'm from the class of 66, and I remember eating in Harrison Hall with the post office boxes.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Harrison. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. It was Harrison. That's right. And we had there were dances up there too. We had dances there my freshman year, I think, in Harrison, in the old dining room there. Excuse me. You're right, Alice. Thank you for correcting me.
Mixers,
yeah, mixers.
That's right.
Drag the VMI cadets over. Make them come
UVA.
over. UVA.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'll throw it back to Carl and Dee and Mandy. We are getting close on our time this evening, so I just want to throw it back to you all to continue your conversations. And I'll send a warning on when our breakout rooms will be closing with about 60 seconds left. So don't worry, you won't be cut off in the middle of your sentence or anything like that.
Just to follow up on my comment about our students too cared for. If I was a student today, I'd like every one of those things. So we know that the campus is sought out for and very popular. And I think I can speak for all of us. We're in awe of what JMU is. So who else wants to share a story about coming back to school? I mean, Trudy, have you been back to school? I don't know if Trudy heard me. Trudy Stokes? No. Maybe. Anyone
I'm
else?
Linda. I'm Linda Stoltz. I'm not Trudy Stoltz. Trudy Stoltz is traveling in Oregon.
Ah.
I married her. I married Trudy's brother.
Oh gosh, there's Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Oh, Linda, have you been back?
Nutty.
Mandy. This is Betty Perry Kaufman. Duke
yes.
is now used by the art students. And I do have to say, if you ever get a chance to go to the Forbes Center, the performances are amazing.
And that's the new one. That's the new
Right.
place. Where is that located?
Where the old
Where is
sorority
that located?
houses were. Remember the houses across Main Street?
Oh,
Dear
okay.
Anthony Seeger.
They tore all those houses down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because when I was there, Hoffman was the sorority dorm. Everybody that was in a sorority that wanted to lived in Hoffman. But
right
I know
before
where
that-
Anthony Seeger was.
And right before
Yeah,
that,
okay,
there
I
were the houses across the street. Which is,
Okay.
they're now
And it's
gone.
amazing. Didn't they buy the funeral home and the churches and the hospital and all of that? Doesn't JMU own all that?
No churches, but we have that. We bought the hospital and we did buy Kiger, and that's where Forbes is now, where Kiger and Lincoln and the sorority houses across Main Street next to, what was that place you all used to go to get food across the street?
Doc's.
Doc's.
Yes.
Terry, you remember Doc's, right? Terry McMillan? Tom almost lost his life at Doc's.
Yeah, Doc's was a great hangout and it wasn't far from the dorm.
Right.
No, it was a good carry out too. We would carry it out during exams and study and eat their food. Yeah.
We used to go to Jess's hot dogs.
Oh
great.
yeah, that's why we named our group Jesse. Oh,
Jesse's
is it
is
still
closed.
there?
Oh, it's
Jess's
not there
closed
anymore.
this year.
Closed
I
up.
remember we used to go down there like at midnight or something and get a hot dog.
Wasn't
No,
there
no,
a
you
dinner?
What were you
didn't.
doing
No,
out of
you
the
didn't.
dorm?
You couldn't be out
What were
of
you
the
doing out of the
dorm.
dorm after 10?
Remember, I guess we broke out. I don't
Now,
know.
don't tell on yourself.
Oh, these are the young kids from class of 71 just joined us.
That's right. Hi, Ellen.
We're crashing the party.
That's right.
Oh.
It said something about Jesse's hot dog, so I showed up.
Jesse's. I remember going to Jesse's.
Jesse passed away this past year.
Did he really?
Oh.
Yeah.
The family closed it. There is a Jesse's, Steve would probably know. There's a Jesse's up on the hill, 43 as you're going east. But I think it's family related somehow, but it's not, I don't know.
That's close too, unfortunately. Gus passed away and his two sons passed away before him. And his daughter-in-law was trying to run Jess's downtown, and his other daughter-in-law was trying to run the one on 33, and they didn't. And so now it's closed. Unfortunately, they had the best French fries.
There was a tax issue involved there too.
Oh.
Didn't want to get into that, Steve.
Well, it's the truth.
The
It was in
inside
paper,
story.
it had to be true.
Y'all mentioned the D Hall. Did anybody ever take in the wintertime, did y'all take the trays out the door, sneak the trays out the door?
Oh, sure.
Down the hill in the snow with
Led
them?
down the hill.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
And did anybody get taken before honor court for that?
Don't recall.
You all got unusually silent after that last question.
Didn't we have to be in the dorms by midnight?
Oh, earlier than that, I think.
Earlier, on the weekends, and I know, I went.
It was like 10:30.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Right. You had a
Not the
sign
guys.
in, right?
Yeah.
I was actually very serious about honor court. I got taken before honor court or some disciplinary body all dressed in robes for sneaking out of Hoffman. I don't think it was any later than 10 or 11. And here was my version of sneaking. I snuck across the street to the dorm, right across the street, to buy something from the vending machine. I didn't even go off campus.
Oh,
Big trouble, big trouble.
Student government judicial.
Yeah, that's who it was.
That six pack under your arm gave it away.
No.
Which you had to go all the way to Stanton to buy.
And then it was only 3.2, right?
Yes, 3.2 beer.
right.
The Red
Terrible.
Fox room. Oh, the Red Fox room and Echo.
I remember Craftons and Rafters. I'd forgotten about those others. Yeah.
Yeah, they were the more local ones.
Hey, guys, I'm the bad boy in the group. I actually got arrested on campus by the Harrisonburg police.
Woo!
And-
Early prediction of fame and fortune. What did you do, Glenn?
Well, at the time I worked for WSVA, the TV station in town, and they had a Christmas party and they had an open bar. And, I was drinking 7 and 7s. I mean, it was free. I couldn't believe it. I'm just there having a great time. And the station manager came up to me with his wife and they started a conversation. And they asked me and anyway, I was so drunk, I fell face down on the floor. Now, this is 1970. One of the guys picked me up, put me in my car, and told me I needed to leave now.
Oh.
So I left, and I drove back on campus, and I got disoriented. Now, I don't remember any of this, so it's kind of scary, and I'm glad that I didn't cause any harm to anybody. But I got disoriented. And I stopped in front of a dorm. I left my car running and I went up and the door was locked. So I took my fist and I punched out the glass, cut my hand, reached inside, opened the door and went up to the 3rd floor. I don't know why. Found the door open, went inside, fell asleep. It happened to be one of the girls' dorms. And some girl had seen me and saw me going up the stairs and called the Chief Munger, I think it was, and he called the Harrisonburg police. And now I don't remember any of this. What I do remember is waking up the next morning in the Harrisonburg jail. And it is scary when you wake up and there's bars in front of you and you don't know why you're there.
Wow.
So, I got bailed out by the dean. I forgot who the dean was. I did go to court, paid $100, and I went before the men's court. And honestly, they were kind of snickering the whole time. Like, that was pretty cool, And so I was told that if I was ever on campus again, caught drunk, I would be, kicked out of school. And naturally, I didn't do that. But that was the only time in life that I've really crossed the line there.
And there may be the roots of some special treatment, because I think had you been a woman on campus, you'd have had your butt out of there.
You would have been out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Gone.
No question. No question.
Sexism at its finest.
Do you
Yeah, I don't
remember
recall
when they
any
would do the random liquor checks of the
Oh,
rooms?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
To make sure nobody had any liquor? And everybody thought it was so
remember
clever
that.
to put it in the toilet tank. So that's the first place they always went.
I do not remember liquor checks.
Oh, when they would do them when we would be at those Lyceum programs. when we would all have to go. The freshmen all had to attend. The freshmen, before men really showed up full time at school, they had lyceum programs that we were required to attend. They actually took attendance, if you remember, in Wilson Hall. They would bring all these groups in and musical groups and that sort of thing. And when we were there, the honor council would go through the freshman dorms looking for alcohol. I think about that now. I think, oh my golly, you know.
I
Guys, it
remember
was not the honor council, it was student government.
Middle of it.
D, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I don't know
I
whether
said it was not the honor
Right.
council, it was judicial branch of.
Oh,
student
judicial.
government.
Right.
I don't know whether you all remember that lived in the sorority dorm, but I had a dog in our room. I got a puppy.
You did?
Before we graduated. And she lived with us. Everybody in the dorm knew. No one said anything. And whoever our mother was over the intercom used to call her. And she used to run down to her room down there. And she time. And nothing was, I never got caught. Everybody in the dorm kind of knew that Gretchen lived there at that time. But just fun things.
It was a different time. My suite mate went out one night late outside of Hoffman to put her windows up on her car. She'd been student teaching, and the policeman stopped by and he said, "What are you doing out late?" And she told him, and she said, "By the way, I got all these tickets for parking." He said, "Go back in and get them and bring them to me and I'll tear them up."
Oh my gosh.
Well, you
So
know,
they did it. They had a different way of doing things.
I have a parking ticket story. I had a few that I had collected, and I got the notice from the dean that I would not be graduating until they were paid.
Oh,
that's not good.
So yeah, I had to scrounge up enough money to pay my parking ticket so I could.
Iris, well, yeah. You know, sophomore year, we had dorm officers, and so Kai was in converse with some of you up here, and there were a lot of shenanigans going on all the time. Trudy Stoltz is not on right now; her sister-in-law is, and Nubby can attest, and Chris Shelton to all this, and my roommate Barbara Thompson's on, to can attest to all this stuff. And I tell you, I used to get a pink slip at least once a week from Mrs. Rubush. Remember, we had Mrs. Garber our freshman year, but sophomore year, things got really kind of out of control with the fooling around. And I would get this pink slip that would say, "Miss McKnight, please see me sometime this afternoon after 2 or whatever." And I would go in there. And one time someone had thrown a bag of laundry from the 3rd floor where the stairs were, and Mrs. Pendleton, remember that Mrs. Pendleton was our house mother, and every day around 4 o'clock, it was cocktail hour in her room, I think. And she had gone outside and got underneath where the kids would drop the laundry. And literally a first aid was called to take her away. And I got a note the next day asking me, did I know who clocked Mrs. Pendleton with a laundry bag? And I was like, I said, no one in their right minds would have done that on purpose. I said, what was she doing under the stairwell like that, where everybody was just dropping bags of laundry? I don't know. It was every week I would get a note from her because there were flaming prom dresses and, people pranking and that sort of thing. Part of it was my fault, but part of it was a lot of your fault too. People who were on here.
I was on the first floor Converse, and we had 3 to a room. So we had a suite of 6. And every day when we'd all get in from classes, we would put on the 4 tops and get in the hall and do a temptation walk. Yeah.
Well, Converse rocked.
Well, hearing your story about the laundry basket, I mean, even that is a throwback. Can you imagine they actually did all of our laundry for us?
I never owned sheets at school.
Yeah.
I never owned sheets. Sheets were done for us every week.
So Carl, to your question earlier, we were a little bit spoiled in some ways as well.
It was just different. Just different. A lot of fun. Too much fun freshman year, but I settled down, I hope.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for sharing. I hate to cut us short, but just want to keep an eye on the clock for everyone. This is one out of 4 events where the class of 1970 will be able to chat and connect with each other. So keep mulling over those awesome stories and keep getting ready to share. I hope that you all enjoyed yourself this evening, and we hope to see you online tomorrow at 4 p.m. for our Madison Memories panel, where we're going to hear a little bit more about those maybe spoiled students that are currently on campus and hear a bit more about what the school looks like today. So thank you all so much. It was great connecting with all of you.
All right. Bye-bye,
And shout out
everybody.
to
and Carl and
Mandy
Mandy.
and Dee and Carl. You guys are
Yes,
awesome.
thank you, everyone, especially the committee members. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.